Today, I want to talk about settling for average and how you can rise out of this place of mediocrity and enter into a new level of excellence and greatness for yourself. No one admires average, and people don't pay for average. You're never going to reach your full potential sitting around and doing average and basic things. So, are you ready to rise up and become who you're called to be? Let's go. Hello, succeeders. This is Stacey Berla Hill, your leadership and lifestyle coach, helping you to become the best version of yourself and lead successfully through the Live, Lead, Succeed initiative. I'm so excited to be here with you today. We are kicking off the new year. And as promised, I was talking last week about setting the tone for the new year and having your one word and kind of your theme. And I told you all I was going to let you know what I decided on. And it is going to be live. I decided that that word just encompasses everything that I want to achieve for this year, everything that I want to do. And I'm just so in that space of just wanting to live, to do things that slow me down a little bit, things that are making me think and ponder a bit more, things that I've just always loved to do, maybe never had the time to do. I am going to live this year. That doesn't mean I'm going to not work and not do anything, but it means I'm going to be more conscious about how I spend my time and the way that I spend my time. I'm going to get off of that treadmill of life, so to speak, and to just live. And I feel like I've earned that place in my life. I put in my time, I've worked for decades, and I feel I'm deserving of the title to live. So that settles that. That's my word for the year. That's what I'm sticking with. So today we're going to be talking about the 7 tips to stop settling for average and rise to excellence. And if you heard my affirmation from last week, part of it was to become a person of excellence. And that was something that I had wanted to become a reoccurring theme in my life. I wanted everything I did to be done with excellence. And that's still something I strive for. I don't think you ever quite reach, if you're equating excellence with perfection, don't do that. You're never going to be perfect. But excellence is a choice. It's something that you strive for. It's something that you aim to be, and it's going to be synonymous with quality and the standard of your brand, and what you stand for. So I want to start with this quote. This is something that was in John Maxwell's 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, and it's by Edmund Goddard wrote this, but I read this to my mastermind class. We were doing the same book in the mastermind class, and this was such a topic of discussion in that class, and it really made everyone just kind of pause and jaw drop, and I think look at the topic of average a little bit differently. So this isn't the entire quote, but I'm going to just read a little bit of the passage for you. But it states that average is the top of the bottom. It's the worst. I'm sorry, it's the best of the worst. So let me start over. Average is the top of the bottom. It's the best of the worst. It's the bottom of the top. And it's the worst of the best. Let that just sink in for a minute. Then it goes on to say, average means being run of the mill, mediocre, insignificant. Being average is the lazy person's cop-out. It's lacking the guts to take a stand in life. It's living by default. That's worth repeating. It's living by default. Being average is to take up space for no purpose, to take the trip through life but never pay the fare, to return no interest for God's investment in you. Ouch. To return no interest for God's investment in you. Being average is to be forgotten once you pass from this life. The successful are at least remembered for their contributions. The failures are remembered because they tried. But the average, the silent majority, is just forgotten. Wow, and there's more to this passage. It's a really good book if you haven't read that book or if you haven't been part of one of my mastermind classes yet. But wow, how does that make you feel about being average after you hear that? That's like a ouch moment, right? So hopefully that ignites some type of thinking about that word, and maybe there was some ouch maybe pertaining to yourself as you were listening to that, especially the part about living by default, having no return on your the interest for God's investment in you, and that the silent majority is just forgotten. Like those are real things. I mean, he kind of dramatized it a little bit, but it's real. Being average is nothing to strive for. You can be average just by simply showing up. And living by default, I mean, it really just means failure to perform. Like you're just kind of coasting by life. You're not performing. You're just allowing life to happen to you. You're literally just doing enough to get by, and you're not seeking to perform at a higher level. Everyone is capable of being more than average. Everyone has the ability to rise up and to become more than they are settling for right now. And average is not anything to strive for. You don't strive to be average. Like I said, you can be average just by simply showing up. So, so let's talk about this a little bit. So most people, they use average as an excuse to not get out of their comfort zones. They use it as a way to make excuses for themselves for having to do the work. If you have real goals and aspirations in life, they're never going to be reached sitting around an average. Nothing great, no success comes from being average. You might get a string of luck sometimes that may happen to you, but long sustaining success is not going to come in average. So how can we overcome average and reach for excellence? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So my 7 tips for overcoming average and reaching excellence. So number one, and I'm sure you're going to have heard many of these because I talk about these things all the time, but we're going to put them in the 7 tips with regards to excellence today. So number one is to begin to change your mindset. Everything begins with what you think. What you think becomes what you do. What you do becomes your habits. What your habits turn out to be is going to become who you are. It all begins with your mindset. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right in both circumstances. Whatever you think is what's going to happen. So you have to just start with changing your mindset. That is going to be the very first step. You have to do that, have to change your mindset. And you may not believe it at first. It's kind of like the affirmations that we talked about last week. You're training your brain to think something different. You're training your mind to think in a different way. Excuse me. So changing your mindset is going to be number one. Number two is going to be taking small action steps today that is going to lead to great results in the future. This is a journey. It's not a sprint, but you can't keep saying, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll do it. Next week I'll do it. If you keep putting it off, it's not going to happen. You have to take small steps each day that's going to lead to greater results. Just like climbing that mountain. It looks so high, it looks so far away in the beginning, but baby steps. You take little steps, you take a rest. You take baby steps, you take a rest. And sooner or later, you look back and you see just how far you come. And that's how it is with striving for excellence and overcoming this mindset of being average, taking small steps. It's a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a journey. So, number 3, replace the negative talk with positive talk and make this a discipline. So this kind of goes hand in hand with mindset, but replacing your negative talk. So if you are one to always never be able to take a compliment, always criticizing yourself, you may say things like, I'm overweight. I'm just never going to be skinny. I'm just never going to be this type of person. And if that's what you truly want to be, then you need to replace that talk with, I'm just not living the lifestyle I choose to live right now, or the lifestyle that I want to live right now. I'm just not at the level of health that I need to be at right now. See the difference between that? Saying I'm fat and overweight versus I'm just not at the level of health that I want to be at right now. That changes something in you, right? You're no longer down talking yourself. You're just saying that I'm not in a place that I need to be, but you're not degrading yourself and having that negative self-talk and mindset associated with that. So changing the negative talk with positive talk and make it a discipline. Catch yourself, begin to catch yourself when you hear yourself saying things that aren't aligning with a person of excellence. A person of excellence is not going to talk negatively about themselves all the time. There's always going to be things that we need to work on and strive towards, but we can't put ourselves down. We're not a person that does that. A person of excellence doesn't talk like that. So replace the negative talk with the positive talk and make it a discipline. Number 4, always reach for higher, even if you don't know what that looks like just yet. Now, don't confuse higher with perfectionism. We're not reaching to be perfect. We're stretching ourselves. Reaching for higher means stretching. It means growing. It means learning new things. It means striving for things that you didn't even think that you can do. So you are going to stretch yourself and begin to become okay with that and realize that there's always going to be work to do and things that you can learn, and you can always become better. Not perfect, better. So always reach for higher, even if you don't know what that looks like just yet. Number 5, become comfortable with being outside of the box. Nothing great happens in the box or in your comfort zone. You have to be okay with making mistakes and not being perfect. Mistakes are how you grow. Mistakes are how you learn. Mistakes are what make you strong. Mistakes are what give you endurance for the real challenges that you're going to come into contact with. There's always going to be some type of adversity or challenges along the way. Those things are a part of life. They are what makes you who you are. I'm actually reading TD Jakes' Crushing right now, and that's a perfect example of that. He talks about the process of making wine and how, the grapes have to be stomped on, and they go through this process of just being stomped and crushed, and it doesn't seem like it's a pleasant process at the time, but as the grapes are to be processed and to be cultivated and they're fine-tuned for the winemaking process, at the end, you get this beautiful wine. And it wouldn't have happened without the crushing and the stomping of the grapes. And that's what happens in our life sometimes. We get stomped on, we get trampled over, we get stripped of everything that we know, things that we love, things that we thought we were deserving of, and we can't see the big picture that on the other side of that, it's all building up our endurance. It's all preparing us for what's happening next. We wouldn't be able to receive a lot of the things that God has for us if we are too busy worrying about the process. We have to go through some things in life. It may not seem fair. It may not seem like part of your plan, but it's part of the bigger plan. So we have to remember that getting outside of the box is something that we're going to have to do. Mistakes come along with the process, and that's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. It's part of the process. If you are making mistakes and failing, it's a good thing. It doesn't seem good then, but you're going to look back on that and see that those mistakes and those failures open the way for a new opportunity for you later down the road. So begin, like we said, changing your mindset, changing your positive talk, changing your negative talk to positive talk. These are all part of the process. So get outside of the box, get outside of your comfort zone, be okay with making mistakes. All right. So number 5, adopt excellence as a way of life. Adopt it as a way of life. This is just something that you're just going to have to become to encompass in your life. So when things come your way that aren't aligned, if people want to work with you that are not in alignment with excellence, you're going to have to say no. There may be some tough decisions that have to be made. There may be some difficult conversations that you may have to have. But ultimately, if you want to be a person of excellence, you have to surround yourself with excellence. So there may be some people that you have to distance yourself from. There may be some tough conversations that you're going to have, like I said, but adopt it as a way of life. Encompass it in everything that you do. Go the extra mile to prepare for something, prepare for a presentation, to produce that quality work. Take the extra time to do that. You want to be synonymous with excellence. You want to be synonymous with a person of their word. You want to be synonymous with achievement and quality. Like your character and your integrity and the product that you serve and deliver should be so strong that if anyone ever questioned your character, there wouldn't be anything to hold it to. People would just not even believe that that could have happened, because you have built such a strong brand and character that your name is not even synonymous with something that's not of that. So that's how you want to live your life. Adopt it as a way of life. And lastly, number 7, remember that excellence is a choice. It's not a gift. And that's also by Dr. Alex Ellis says this, but he says that it's not something that you're born with. It's something that you choose to do. People aren't born with excellence. It's a choice. It's a choice that you make each day. And it's a choice that you have to keep striving towards. And pretty soon, the more that you do it, just like riding a bike, you keep riding a bike and eventually you write it and you do it without any effort, without any thinking about it, and you never forget it. And excellence is the same way. You practice it, you continue to do it, it's a choice, and then it becomes a way of life, just like anything else that you do that you put your mind to. So I hope that you took something away from our 7 steps today, and I hope that you are going to focus on being a person of excellence and no longer settling for average. And it's not always easy, if you've gone the majority of your life settling and then all of a sudden are expected to rise up and become more, that's not always the easy place to be in, but it's always going to be worth it. And you're going to have to do the things that are not easy in order to get the things that you want. And in order to reach a level of peace and success in your life, you're going to have to get uncomfortable. And striving for excellence is the way to do that. You want to be a person that is known for excellence. You want to strive for excellence. And you can do it. You've got this. I'm rooting for you. And I'm going to see you all next week. So I want you to stop settling. Be excellent. You got this.